Jude Bellingham reportedly exploded at Thomas Tuchel during England training and charged across the pitch in a confrontation that brought the entire session to a complete standstill. It wasn't just any argument. It wasn't a misunderstanding. It wasn't the press exaggerating. This is serious. Nothing like this has ever been seen days before a World Cup opener. And there's a detail the FA still hasn't confirmed publicly. According to sources close to the squad, Bellingham allegedly questioned Tuchel's tactics in front of the entire team before the pitch confrontation even happened. And the worst hasn't even come to light yet. Over the next few minutes, you'll understand exactly what happened and why this changes everything for England at the World Cup. Because when this happens, days before a World Cup, it's not just any problem. We're talking about England's most gifted midfielder, a player performing at the highest level in Spain, reportedly at war with the manager over team selection. The dressing room is split. The coaching staff is on high alert, and the clock is ticking toward the opener, and the behind the scenes of this is worse than it looks. It all started during a tactical meeting at St. George's Park. Sources suggest Jude Bellingham was informed he would not start the opening World Cup match. Thomas Tuchel reportedly preferred a more defensive midfield setup, with Kobbie Mainoo and Declan Rice anchoring the centre. Bellingham allegedly viewed the call as a personal slight and questioned Tuchel's tactical logic right there in front of the entire squad. The tension didn't stay in that room. It carried onto the training pitch. That's when it all fell apart. It happened during the final phase of training, with players running through set-piece positioning. Tuchel allegedly called out Bellingham for being out of position during a corner routine. Jude Bellingham stopped mid-drill, threw his bib to the ground, and began walking toward the manager. Staff members moved to intervene. Declan Rice stepped forward. But Bellingham kept advancing. Witnesses claim he gestured emphatically while speaking, though the exact words remain unclear. Thomas Tuchel stood his ground, arms folded, saying nothing. The whistle blew. Training stopped. For several seconds, the entire squad stood frozen. Eventually, Declan Rice stepped between them and Bellingham walked off toward the tunnel without looking back. Tuchel resumed the session 5 minutes later. But the mood never recovered. Nobody saw it coming. But the thing is, this didn't start yesterday. Behind the scenes, Bellingham had allegedly grown frustrated with Tuchel's conservative approach in previous friendlies, where he was asked to play deeper and track back more than he does at Real Madrid. Sources close to the camp suggest Bellingham felt the system was stifling his natural game and privately questioned whether Tuchel trusted him in high-pressure moments. There were also whispers that Tuchel viewed Bellingham as tactically undisciplined compared to Kobbie Mainoo, whose positional awareness fits the manager's structured style. And here's where it gets even more serious, because the squad is now quietly divided. On one side, you've got Bellingham's allies. Declan Rice, who's been Bellingham's closest friend in the camp, is caught between loyalty to his teammate and his role as captain. Younger players like Phil Foden and Bukayo Saka reportedly sympathize with Bellingham's frustration, feeling the system doesn't maximize attacking talent. On the other side, senior figures like Harry Kane and Jordan Pickford respect Tuchel's right to make tough calls and believe no player should be bigger than the team. And in the middle, players like Kobbie Mainoo, who's quietly aware he's the beneficiary of all this, trying to stay out of the crossfire. And hold on, because the most controversial detail I've saved for the end. The reactions have been explosive. Social media blew up the moment the news leaked. Some fans argue Bellingham's passion shows he cares and that benching him is tactical madness. Others insist no player is bigger than the team and that Tuchel must impose discipline. Harry Kane, who's shared a dressing room with Jude Bellingham for years, has reportedly remained publicly neutral, but is privately worried about team unity going into the tournament. The coaching staff allegedly backed Tuchel unanimously in private, viewing the confrontation as a test of authority that he had to win. The FA is reportedly concerned about the optics and potential media fallout, but unwilling to intervene publicly, trusting Tuchel to handle internal discipline. The press is already asking whether this is the beginning of a deeper rift and whether Bellingham's camp might leak further grievances if the situation isn't resolved. And what leaked afterwards is even worse. Sources suggest Jude Bellingham sent a message to someone outside the camp immediately after the incident, and its contents have not yet surfaced publicly. On top of that, allegedly, a member of the coaching staff was filming the training session for tactical analysis and may have captured the entire confrontation on camera, though the footage has not been released. Now here's where it all falls apart. The consequences are massive. Thomas Tuchel must now decide whether to restore Bellingham to the starting lineup or double down on his initial decision. If Bellingham remains benched and England struggle in the opener, the manager will face immediate scrutiny from fans and the media. But if Bellingham starts and performs poorly, it undermines Tuchel's judgment and shows that big names can override tactical decisions, which could embolden other players to challenge him down the line. And the clock is ticking. England's first match is fast approaching, and squad harmony is already fragile. Any further leaks or public comments from Bellingham's camp could force Tuchel into a corner he can't escape. You, as a fan, know what this means. A divided dressing room going into a World Cup is a disaster waiting to happen. Now, Thomas Tuchel is caught between two bad decisions. If he backs down and starts Bellingham, he risks undermining his authority and signaling that individual egos can override the collective plan. But if he holds firm and keeps Bellingham on the bench, he risks alienating one of England's most talented players, damaging morale, and facing public backlash if results suffer without him. This is a point of no return. Either Tuchel gets control of this situation now, or England's World Cup campaign could implode before it even begins. The FA is monitoring closely. The squad is holding its breath. And Jude Bellingham, one of the best midfielders in Europe, is at the center of it all. And look, this is far from over. This is the information going around so far. Over the next few hours, new details should drip out, and they could turn this whole story upside down. Over to you. Should Tuchel start Bellingham to keep the peace or stick to his tactics and risk losing the dressing room? Write it down below. And if you don't want to find out about the next bombshell after everyone else, subscribe and turn on notifications now. Because when this fully blows up, you'll want to be the first to know, not the last.